Hey there everyone, and welcome to another video. As you can probably tell, I'm pretty freaking happy right now. I have a little update for everyone involved in Linux. God, I'm so excited I can't even form a sentence without stuttering. That's amazing. Okay, so a few weeks ago I made a video not about a falling guitar controller, but about KDE and a bug that I have with KDE's window manager when it comes to blind accessibility. Basically, because I have dual monitors, and they're arranged in a way that isn't a perfect rectangle, panning around the screen with the zoom push mode doesn't work properly. Basically, what happens is if I try to pan up on my left monitor, the screen gets cut off, and I cannot pan up above a certain point. And it's the same if I try to pan down on my right monitor. Part of my taskbar gets cut off, and it kind of limits what layouts and stuff that I can do, as well as what I can access in applications, because, well, think about what's at the top of most Windows, particularly programming-related ones. You have a menu bar, or you have tabs, or something like that. And, it's really difficult for me to access them, because the screen gets cut off, right? And so, the way to work around it is to move the zoom area to another display where I can pan fully up, and then pan up, and then as you can see, there's the top of my Google Chrome window, the close, minimize, maximize, pan over, there's my tabs. And that's how you have to access it on KDE right now. But that will soon be no more, because about a week or so after the video, I submitted a merge request to fix the bug. And that's what this post right here is about. It's about me basically saying, hey, I've contributed my first ever KDE bug fix, and here's the merge request, and here's the thanks to a whole bunch of people who helped me get started, including, but not limited to, Brody Robertson, who you may recognize as a much more popular YouTuber than me, who talks about Linux. And I was on his podcast, and the episode will be out in a few days. I will be announcing it on my Discord server, and on Mastodon, and on Patreon, and then I will be hiding from the internet because I do not want to hear my own voice. But anyway, the podcast was recorded in the past, so I am ranting about the bug on it, and that it hasn't been fixed, but, it has been. It has been fixed, and if we click on the merge request, we get blinded for a sec, because GitLab is kind of buggy with Darkreader, and that's a good case to have invert colors. GNOME, please add an invert colors hotkey. It's missing. You need it. It's a requirement for accessibility. Why do you not have it? But anyway, we're on KDE, so that's irrelevant. But if we look at the merge request, you can see right here, little dark orange, I think, background. Big text, and it says, merged. Yeah, they merged it. So, it was a bit of a lengthy process to get this merged. A lot of code review threads, and a lot of stuff going a little wonky. It's my first time ever contributing, so, obviously I don't know everything about what to do, but, these two fellas, or whatever ender they are, I kind of fudged that up, but I cannot pronounce their names properly, unfortunately, but, this person and, where's the other guy? Vlad something or other. Wait, what? I scrolled right by him. There they are. These two people have been very helpful with me, very patient and very helpful getting me set up with KDE and how to develop it. So, one thing I will point out is, on my system right now, this was just merged today, so it's I don't think it's going to end up in KDE Plasma 5.27, which is what I'm running. But it will end up in Plasma 6, and I will be upgrading to Plasma 6. But there is also another bug that I introduced that I will have to fix, and don't worry, I do plan on fixing it. I just have to figure out how I'm going to. I've unfortunately introduced a bug where, let's say I dragged this monitor up here. So it's a lot higher up, actually a little bit further. Right about here. This is a bit of an extreme monitor layout, but now what will happen is if you zoom in with your cursor on the left screen right here, you will not be able to move the cursor to the right screen unless you zoom out, and vice versa, because of the way it detects adjacent monitors. It's a little bit smashed right now, but I'm aware of the bug. We're all aware of the bug, and it's gonna get fixed eventually. But the more important part is that this is a start to having more proper zoom pushing in KDE. To quote the other maintainers that have been looking at my code and reviewing it, the code that I've been working on has not been touched in literally forever, and it's ancient, it's old, it still uses integers for things that could be used with floating point numbers. It definitely needed an update, and at least for the foreseeable future, I'm probably going to be the one to be updating it, and that's really exciting. I would not have seen myself ever making a contribution to a KDE or any other Linux desktop environment. It has seemed way too overwhelming for me. But thanks to me making that video and Brody posting it on his Mastodon, and all of the attention I've been getting from the bug report video, the bug report itself, and the actual merge request existing on Mastodon, I'm just gonna say it. I get very stressed out using my computer because it gets in my way. It for a while, for a few months, it's been crashing constantly. I get blue screens on Windows just using Git for no godly good reason. Games wouldn't run well, even though I have the graphics card and the RAM to do it. Restitched would constantly crash. Socially Distant would constantly crash. I would get corrupted files because of blue screens on Windows. Windows itself is a mess, and you'll hear about all the accessibility shit that I have to deal with on Windows on the podcast episode. And that's the main reason I switched to Linux. But of course, you know, Linux for me has always been everything works mostly perfectly the way that I want to. Except for the accessibility stuff and being able to pan my zoom area around properly. And it's sad, but I understand why that's the case. I'm just glad that in a way I'm able to help. And knowing that KDE, which is my main desktop environment, is fixed, you know, except for that one bug I pointed out earlier with extreme monitor layouts where the mouse can't move outside of a certain monitor, you know, that's a huge start. And what it's doing is it's making me actually happy using my computer. It's no longer something that necessarily stresses me out. Even today, you know, I'm able to tolerate the bug because I'm used to it, and I can work around it, but that's only because I know that it's fixed, and eventually I won't have to work around it anymore because it won't be there. But, you know, today I was working on the Restitched documentation wiki. We actually have an internal wiki that only the team can access, and I've been working on making it a lot faster because I have the time to do it, and I'm not fighting with my computer, and, you know, I'm able to do stuff. And the only thing that stressed me out was the few times where my SSH connection would disconnect because of something buggy with the Cloudflare SSH tunnel. And you know what? If that's the only thing stressing me out in my day using a computer, you know what? Fuck it, it's fine. I'm happy. So yeah. But, you know, things aren't perfect. Obviously the bug's still there. I have to wait till Plasma 6, unless someone wants to backport it to 5.27. I doubt they'll actually do that, though, honestly. And, you know, Plasma 6 is gonna be out in, like, what, a few days? So, I don't know, but, you know, it's fairly soon, I assume. So I'm not worried. But, with KDE in general, it is my main desktop environment because it's just the most usable right now, as far as accessibility goes. I know what I'm doing with it, obviously because I've written code for it at this point. But KDE on its own, pretty freaking awesome. But I don't like the default KDE workspace. I don't like how Windows this is. And you know what? If you're a KDE maintainer, you may get annoyed that this is very Windows-like, but it really is, by default. It is, you literally have a start menu right here, then a super bar, and then a system tray, the date and time, and, you know, I can't pan to this properly, but this big thing right here, this is the notifications panel, which is, you know, Windows 10 has that. But, I don't like that workspace, and it's not because I don't think it's usable. You know, if you're used to Windows, or, you know, you just like this way of working, it's perfectly usable. But for me, I like to be able to open a terminal, you know, for example, like this one. You know, there's my Neofet. And I like to be able to open something like, I don't know, what can I open that's safe? Unity Hub. If it'll open. And then, what I like to be able to do is, I like to be able to hit the start button, or whatever you want to call it, type in terminal, and instead of it opening a new one like this, I want it to switch to the existing terminal that's already open right here. I don't like opening a new program every time. I don't, that's why I don't like the Windows workflow, is I don't like that whole, way of doing things where to switch programs you're using Alt-Tab, or you're using some sort of overview type thing which I have turned off so it didn't work, or using a taskbar. I don't like any of that. It isn't my way of working. Never has been. Obviously I'm used to it, so I can manage with it, which is why I'm using KDE. But what I'd really prefer is to be able to hit the super key, bring up a menu, type in a program that's already open, and have it switch to it. Unfortunately, I don't know a way to do that right now. I know KRunner, I think, can switch windows, but the super key does not open KRunner. It opens the kickoff launcher thingy, and it's not what I want. If someone knows how to make it so it opens KRunner specifically, and that KRunner prioritizes open programs over new programs, let me know. I'd really like to know. But anyway, little update for you guys. The merge request has been merged. The annoying Zoom bug has been fixed. And, yeah. That's about it. Thanks for watching. As I vigorously tried to get to the stop recording button because I have yet to set up a stream deck. Hand to it.